Favorite show that you're watching right now?
Oh, probably the show that we just finished watching, Invincible, the superhero
That was
cartoon.
dark,
It
yo.
was very dark, but wow.
I love the storyline. I love the cartoons. I love everything of the superhero world. But I feel like shows today have like they're crossed the line, the border of showing too much graphic, violent content. You like
The
see
gore.
people.
There's too much gore.
Yeah, I haven't seen that before. Like it's like a
Right.
new thing, a new threshold that we're kind of normalizing now.
Yeah, I agree.
That I think is a little bit like, "Meh, I'm not feeling it," because it's like I'm like when my stomach starts like, I get nauseous. I feel like that maybe is a sign that this is like not good for me,
Right.
and when
I get
that
like PTSD just from watching a show.
right. And then like when I have to like normalize that and kind of numb myself out to that,
Yeah.
I'm feeling like something's coming up, y'all. It's not good. Should we just roar, Mr. Tariq-san?
Roll it.
Okay. Right, can I hear that song? I feel like a good city Japanese guy. Like, this is a nice intro song. Very nice. You have to drink it or something, right?
That's pathetic with everything. Yeah. It's kind of strange. This is going to be the last so much that we do live together, like in the same physical space, because
I'm leaving tomorrow morning. I'm leaving back tomorrow, and hopefully we don't have to go to like Clairsentience for 10 days. And it's kind of like we have this like really stupid rule. I'm not even having it at your own home. You're supposed to have it in a hotel.
with a
That
bunch
was
of strangers, but that feels a lot safer.
right, right, right. I don't understand that. So,
Yeah, I don't understand that. Like, how can you be in a hotel with a bunch of other people who
that
have also
might
been
have,
traveling?
you
How how is that supposed to be safer than
I
you
do
being
not
at
know.
home by yourself?
I have no idea. I think it's a stupid rule, and I think that people are suffering to use logical and rational sense of thinking.
Common sense is not that common, eh?
Common sense, huh?
Not that common.
Definitely not that common. So I'm gonna grab my pussy, and I'm gonna no, actually, cat. I'm gonna grab my pussy and go. I'm gonna grab my cat, and I'm gonna
You never know what's going to come out of his mouth next.
Never.
That's part of the fun.
ta-da.
So much unpredictability.
Yeah. And of course, we're gonna have psychic channeling today. If somebody feels like they want to connect to spirit, I will be offering that as well today. And
Panther
yeah,
behind you is amazing. Yeah, thank you so much. Found him in a store and I was like, you, sir, you're coming home with me.
that's actually my power animal. Panther.
Yeah, Panther.
I did one time. One time at bait camp. I met this woman, and she was great. I'm going to talk like the Long Island medium right now. She said she would do like mirror magic. I don't know if I could call
Mirror
that
magic?
mirror magic. Yeah, she could. When she was younger, she would every day stand in a special corner, like in her home, look in a mirror, and she would see scenes that would happen throughout the day.
Whoa.
Yeah, and
That's
she
a
could
cool
like
ability.
see it many, many times. And she said like, okay, look into a mirror and then like focus on that. And then my face started changing. I started getting fur, and I was like, what is going on in this stuff? But I think it's like maybe some of my astral lineage. I'm some panther race or something. Okay, now, like I love how we're going. Like we go deep right away. We go right into.
It's like a roller coaster. You're on the top, and then all of a sudden you're just like careening in full free fall.
Like before, I would think about like what would people think about me? No, like what would people say about me talking about this, about me being so open about what I'm thinking and what I'm all of these things and what I'm experiencing. But I've learned the beautiful art of not giving a shit.
Yeah.
You know?
I say, what is the point of having freedom of speech if you don't know what you want to say, or if you don't have something to say?
Exactly.
Freedom of speech is only useful if you have something to say. Otherwise, you might as well stay quiet.
Somebody else said something about, so Karen Torres. You say something about. Do you like how I say Torres? Um, uh, uh, mirror magic.
Lion with a crown. Yeah,
Yeah, there's a lion with the crown. Mirror magic. Can you, if you know anything more about mirror magic, please fill me out on
this guy
that.
right here. It's a bit bleached.
That's a little bit you, Tariq. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stepping more into that role.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And today we're going to talk about, by the way, mirror magic. If you have anything on that, please let us know, because I'm interested in finding a little bit more about mirror magic.
Also, shout out to a friend, for anybody who wants a realm reading. It's something that I've only just become aware of recently.
Wait, what is that?
Yeah, so I teach a number of different online courses. One of them is a communication one called Communicate and Captivate, and that's how I met Cassandra. And Cassandra does realm readings where she shows you what your astral lineage is. She accesses the Akashic records. I guess she has administrator privileges that the rest of us are like denied, blocked, denied.
Let me check out. Okay, so you got some Pleiadian stuff going on
so
here.
I just got interviewed for a podcast the other day, and Spencer, he was talking about how he had this amazing realm reading, and he was like, "Oh, I think you know her, Cassandra." And I was like, "Wow, okay." So yeah, realm readings. I've always wanted to find out my astral background and lineage and stuff like that, and I'm having that very soon. So.
I want one too. Like, I know,
because if you think you're just like part German, part Irish or Turkish or whatever, like that's just the Earth story. Can you imagine if people met each other and be like, "Hey, so where are you from?" You'd be like, "Oh, well, I'm, on my father's side, we have a little bit of Lyran, a little bit of Andromedan, There was some Orion, but we kind of like moved him out of the family, like, several generations ago."
But how does that work? Like, can you, because your family, like, that's the whole thing. Your father, and now we're going into a wormhole here, but your father and your mother on the Earth side has nothing to do with your lineage.
Right.
Yeah. So you, like, your lineage do you have fathers and mothers of your lineage? How are you born? And if not in this fleshly world, how are you born on the other side? How do you get linked to these different lineages? Is your astral body, do you have that shape or form? Do you take different shapes or form? Oh my God, I'm going really deep into a wormhole right now, so I'm not gonna.
I think that's part of the collective awakening process that we're going through here on Earth, is a reconnection to our star ancestry, because everything that's on Earth right now, like, there are so many different schools of thinking, and so just to give you one glimpse, and this isn't about something being right or wrong. You take and leave what feels right. This is a thrift store, you know what I mean? Pick up what you want to bring along, leave what you want as well. But Earth functions as a sort of genetic library, because if you think about it, I mean, like, some of the underwater creatures look like they're from another planet. Like, they are completely different than other forms of life that you might find on land, certain mammals or birds or whatever. And so there's such a smorgasbord of different creatures existing on this
smorgasbord?
A smorgasbord existing on this plane right now, a menagerie, if you will.
A menagerie. Yep.
That it's like, yeah, I can totally believe that they were brought here from somewhere else. Or maybe they like came, like an asteroid collided, and then these little, microbes and things like came off the asteroid and then started evolving into creatures.
I have no idea. I know, but it's interesting. Like, we had a talk about this. Was it yesterday or the day before, about like how these innate parts of our soul activates at certain times.
Right.
Like, for example, I told you about the guys that was going to try to beat me up.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, tell that story, please.
I'll tell you the story.
It's such a good story.
So what happened was, I think it was around like 21 or something like that. And I've never been, like, I've been bullied a lot as I grew up. I've been into very many uncomfortable situations, but I never ever gotten into fights. I just don't get into fights. And I remember I was at this birthday party, and these, I'm Persian, and a lot of my friends are Persian, they're Kurdish and everything. And the girl that had her birthday, she was Kurdish, and some guys were sitting a little bit further on the table. It was outside, where they have like warming lamps and everything. So it's like
right, yeah,
the outside section of the restaurant. And then I'm joking because I didn't know that there was this quarrel between like native Persians and Kurds. I had no idea because I haven't been growing up with that. My friends are Kurdish, my friends are from everywhere. I'm Persian. And then my friend says something like, she makes a joke and I make a joke, goes, well, I'm not Kurdish, I'm Persian, I'm the real thing. And obviously these guys picked up on that, right? And they thought that triggered everything within them between the fights between Persians and Kurds that I had no idea anything about.
Right.
And as I was leaving that place, and I'm standing in there, like it's a glass wall from where everybody's sitting, and I'm leaving that place, I go outside, and these three giant guys, I was like 21, these guys were like 35 something, and like big guys come out, and the first thing the guy does is go right through my throat, and he grabs my throat and just like pulls me up. And he's like ready to like beat me, and he's like, what did you say about Kurds? What the and my instant reaction, it was so weird.
Because this is the part that gets me, like, it's what you did next.
Yeah, my instant reaction was not getting aggressive or anything. It was just like, just came naturally. And I didn't even have fear inside of me. It was just like this, instantly like this compassion that just came out, and I was just like, I'm sorry, did I hurt you somewhere? I see that you're upset. How can I help you? How can I be there for you? Like, I really see.
And you're saying this while he has you by the throat.
Yeah. And then it's just like this like twist of the whole moment with this guy holding my throat, the two other guys like ready to just jump on me, and the guy just starts to cry. And the two other guys starts crying, and then we just hug. And my friends are sitting there and watching this, and they're just like, what the fuck just happened? What? Like, what is this? What just happened? And I've seen that side come out sometimes. Like, it's not something I choose, because believe me, like when I have shitty days, like I'm not like an angelic person. I'm like just as, mundane and as everybody else. But sometimes when something activates inside of me, and the same with animals, like animals can come to me and I can look into their eyes and I can just have this like deep understanding, and they fall instantly asleep, or people start to cry. And I know that there is something of my lineage that lives inside of me, and like when something comes hard against me, or it just activates and it comes out. So it's really interesting, like what we have dormant inside of ourselves. So this is probably some...
Ken, yes, we are live. This is happening.
We are live. Hello,
right
Kenny.
Now.
Hey, Kenny boy. How you doing? We're getting together. I promise. Time is hard. So...
Yeah, so this kind of brings me to this point, which is this whole idea of more conflict, more conflict, more conflict, more wars, more battles that are somehow supposed to bring peace.
It's like shouting for silence.
It's like shouting for silence, or saying like, we're going to cultivate mindfulness by running out into the street and screaming and accusing people and abusing people.
You be mindful. Consciousness.
And the analogy that I have for it, it's kind of like this. Imagine like, here we are, we're in the studio, and all of a sudden a fire starts. We're like, oh shit, there's a fire. What do we do? We call the fire department. We're like, hey, there's a fire. Can you please come immediately? And they show up and they take out these big cannons, and then they turn them on, and flamethrowers. They just start burning the place. And you guys are like, what are you doing? The place was already on fire. They're like, haven't you heard? Fight fire with fire.
Yeah, I know.
And you're like, that doesn't work.
But it's something, it's our mirror neurons that, so when somebody does like grin their teeth and get angry at you, our automatic response is to mirror that. Like we're in some ways, this complex being that we are, our human side is actually very simple in some ways as well. So automatically, if I smile, it automatically activates things that make you want to smile.
Fake looking smile just there.
You call me
you didn't smile with your eyes.
If I smile,
you have to smile with your eyes.
Yeah, smiles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is how people say, like, oh, but look, they're on TV, they're smiling. I'm like, yeah, they're not smiling with their eyes. That should be a giveaway.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, like authenticity.
Hi, listen to me. I mean well. Like, that looks fake.
How often do you see that though?
Often.
And people call people out. Now, you don't need to call people out on their bullshit, but when your system is picking up, like I was in a relationship with somebody that had very narcissistic tendencies, and I remember there were so many times where that person would, like, in public settings, like you like cry or like get teary eyed and like say stuff like compliments like, oh, I'm just so proud of you right now. And my whole body was like, I don't believe you. You know, like it's you could just notice that this isn't genuine. And I like my lesson for that whole thing was that I should have trusted my intuition all along.
Yeah, I've trusted my intuition my entire life. It hasn't failed me yet. Like your intuition is so much more intelligent than the conscious waking part of you is. It has a guidance to it. It has an inbuilt GPS compass that is far more effective than anything you can rationalize or reason with your mind.
Yeah, because it goes beyond rationalization and reason.
It's
because
nonlinear.
It's nonlinear.
It's
and it takes
exponential.
you, by the way, talking about nonlinear, I have a background in integrative psychotherapy, and I've been going to therapy for many years, trying to heal childhood traumas. I've been really working on this subject. And what I understood, talking about like timelines, is that there is no timeline, like, or there is no linear timeline. There is many timelines, but everything is happening right now, right? So
Right, like the stuff that happened to you as a kid actually happened in one part of this connected now.
yes,
There was no past. Past is just you fragmenting part of that experience in
and
the form of a
storing
memory
in my body
right, whereas actually all happened
now. So the only thing that exists from that is the stories that we carry within ourselves.
Right.
So what I understood, because I've been doing a lot of, and most of the clients that I work with, I do a lot of inner, because with my empath ability, I can Clairsentience, I go in and I see what's going on and I talk for their child and I kind of map it out for them. But what I'm understanding is that it doesn't just, like, one thing is to give healing and love to the parts inside of ourselves that need that. But the real healing happens when we go back into that memory and change it.
I've heard this, like the sort of quantum memory rewriting.
It works, and it's the only thing that works, because you can talk about it until you go gray. You can try to give yourself so much love and healing and everything, but what you do that really works, that I believe in, this is like the furthest I've come on my journey, and if you know anything better about this, please do fill us in. Then you have to go back into that time and rewrite the story. That does not mean denying it. It means completely being present about it, but then going back, listen to the wound, everything like that, give it love, but then rewrite it into something beautiful and positive and nurturing.
Yeah, I remember there was a woman who joined us on one of our retreats in Bali, and she had been through heavy childhood abuse. And nothing had worked for her thus far. And because she had been through this retreat experience, she was now very open and receptive. And we had this deep sort of hypnosis style coaching / meditation session. It was a bit of a mix of all of it. And we went back into her memories, like looking at Polaroids. And then we could go into each image. And as we went into the image, she played out the scene, but this time she was safe. She was protected. She was out here and she was watching the scene from a third person perspective. And she could see in each moment of trauma and pain, a cord was created like a red thread. And that red thread then ran from that Polaroid picture and started to connect picture after picture after picture, like you would hang washing on a line. And so what we had to do is go back into that one memory, cut that cord,
right,
and then rewind the scene and play it out the way that she wanted to. And
exactly.
it dissolved the thread from there to all of her future instances, and she healed. And I saw her like a couple of months later, and her friends who were with her came up to me and be like, whatever you guys did with her on the retreat, she's a different person.
Exactly.
And that was just a rewrite of the memory in an emotional quantum. And
but what are we other than memories and narratives, right?
Totally.
We are basically, we're continuously, every day when we wake up, we are the narratives that we carry within us. And until we rewrite these narratives and allow new narratives and new forms of identity to kind of emerge out of it, but it takes work. And I think for me, it has not worked with just being like talking about stuff.
Right.
because you can just talk and talk
And you
talk
kind of
and talk
fuel it
about
and feed it to an extent. Like
it.
once it's
100%.
expressed and released, you just keep it alive. It's kind of like taking a story that you hate reading and reading it to yourself every day before bedtime. Like, of course, it's not going to make you feel good because you're reading the same story, it has the same chapters, it's going to play out the same way.
Guys, like talking about this, I'm starting in the 6th of June. I'm gonna like start saying this, but the 6th of June, I'm starting something called the White Lotus. I don't know if I'm gonna call it community or covenant or whatever, and it's a free space for all of us to like. We do like a Zoom chat or whatever, and I guide you through a meditation that's all free, and it's just in service for the Great Awakening and for us to have a space where witches and sorcerers and wizards can come together, and we can,
Warlocks.
and warlocks and and we can come together and we can practice our magic. So if you have different abilities, I have my abilities, we come to the space, we practice our abilities together, we share the keys of wisdom that we have, and we elevate our frequency. So when we go back into the world where we have perspective, we have elevated frequency, and we're kind of like back to who we are. So the reason why I'm using the name of the White Lotus is because I did the Pink Lotus before. That was a little bit too feminine for so many guys who were like, I don't know about the pink. So the White Lotus is about, the detachment.
I just joined this club. It's called the Pink Lotus. Yeah, no, I can see how that.
Yeah, so the white is also the color or the light that I a lot of what my frequency comes from is the white light, and is connected to that Kuan Yin lineage. That's why the empathy, I think, comes out. It's like the Kuan Yin thingy. So join up on that. Free. But hey, we were going to talk about something totally different, Tariq.
Yeah. Well, I have one thing I want to say real quick. And then if there's a particular subject or topic you want us to dive into, because this is the last time that we're going to be like physically here doing this. Like we're still going to continue these so much sessions, but they will be, from different geographic locations. So if there's something that you want us to dive into that we feel connected to and that we feel resonates with us, then we can take the conversation there. But what I wanted to say was, I feel like a major shift happening for masculinity right now.
Ooh, big.
Because people say like, oh, tell me, like, what does it mean to be a divine masculine? And like, I don't have that kind of title for myself. I don't walk around going, yes, I'm the divine masculine. I just know the journey that I've taken. I know where I was, I know where I am, and I have a vision for where I'm going. And the journey that I can see is from the past. Masculine strength was in the form of the predator. So you could be strong, but you were strong in a predatory way. You would conquer, and you would exact revenge, and you would express dominion over other people, over other things in your relationships. It was about control, dominance, me being stronger, me pushing you down, competition, predator.
Right, 100%.
The move for masculinity, or the move that I feel, my personal opinion about where masculinity is going and where it needs to go, is not into the feminine necessarily. Like, I believe in an integration between masculine and feminine within us. Absolutely. It's a dance, not a fight. You don't want to fight that aspect of yourself. You want to tango with it. However, the move that I feel needs to take place for masculinity is to go from the predator to the protector. And that shift holds endless keys, because both are strong. See, this idea, the idea that a lot of men that I speak to have conflict with is, oh, but I don't want to be feminine. I don't want to be weak.
I don't want to be castrated.
Yeah, no one's asking you to lose your masculinity. Like, go train, get strong, eat good food, like become healthy and vital in your body, but then use that strength to support others. Use that strength to stand up for others. Use that strength to protect others, to hold people and say, hey, I've got this.
I love that. I've needed this my whole life, and I didn't understand, like, to break it down on how this, in everybody, in all of us, woman or man or whatever, we all have the divine feminine, divine masculine, And I never understood why the divine masculine is, or the masculine force is so important, because I didn't have my father around when I grew up. So I never understood why that part was so important. I was like, well, I got love. I had parents, like, why was that so important? But then now I've come to a point where I understand that if I didn't have the father in the house, the protector, then how am I going to be the father of my house and the protector of me? Because the masculine is there to make me feel safe, to make my creative force, the feminine, the intuitive side, to feel safe in this world, and to really manifest myself as a human being upon this earth and claim my spot in this earth. So the masculine within us, a lot of us is getting it's rising up within a lot of us now. Like we've been talking about the divine feminine rising, but together with the divine feminine, divine masculine has to rise as well, because he is her protector. And when I'm saying him and her, it's both the same force, two sides of the same force that is within all of us. So we need that.
To see what's.
Is it the dog?
I'm not sure. I'm just going to quickly check. But you continue.
Okay. See, that's the protector. That just like, so the divine masculine is an extremely important force in us to protect ourselves, to make good decisions, to actually act, to do. When we don't act, when we don't do, oh, that's a doggy. Was it the doggy?
Yeah, there was just a lot of sound. I was just checking.
Was she playing with some stuff?
I'm not sure.
Maybe it was the cat.
It might be the cat.
We have cats, we have dogs. But yeah, that's like how I understood like how important the divine masculine is and how it's been affecting my life, because I haven't been feeling safe. I've been seeking protection. I always dreamt of somebody protecting me, but now I've suddenly come into this mode of I have to stand up for myself. I have to stand up for my truth. I cannot go into victim anymore. Enough with victimhood, guys.
For me, I wrote this post called "The Death of the Moi." And a moi is a man boy, right? It's like somebody who's like a man biologically, but they just aren't stepping into their role. They're still playing the role of the knave rather than the knight, or rather than the prince or the king. And one of the things that made a huge difference for me personally, and this is all about the way that you view yourself, is for much of my life, because I've grown up with a very strong father, like typical alpha male father, to the point where you're like, I don't even know how to measure up to that. You know what I mean? Never backs down, always stands up for us and for everybody. Meanwhile, I'm writing poetry and playing guitar. And so I naturally saw myself as being a lot more feminine. And so with that, this feeling of being the provided for. So I grew up with this feeling of being the provided for, and where I feel like I've embraced more of my own masculinity is to become my own provider. So to go from being the provided for to being the provider for others, those in my charge, like, for example, my fiance or my dog or our friends, like be the one who provides for others rather than the person who needs to be provided for. Be the one who protects others rather than the one who seeks protection.
Yeah, but that requires to go out of victimhood. We gotta
absolutely
put in the battery for this Mac, because we're just like always like falling out of battery or something.
Sure.
Let's see how that works. Sorry, you guys. Is it this one? Maybe. Let's try it.
Oh, okay. Hang on. I'll get a charger for that.
No, it's charged. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, let's catch up on some of these comments. Much love and light.
Can you?
Thank you.
That's a good one. Like Didi is saying, like, "Hey, Samaj, can you go back and change?" Because for those of you who just tune in, we're talking about this, about how to actually heal wounds and deep traumatic wounds and narratives that we're carrying within ourselves. And the only way of doing that is actually going back in time, because timelines are not linear. So everything is happening.
And you
now,
are a quantum being,
right? So you're actually just carrying these stories with you of what happened, but you can change that story within you, because what happened already been in that now. The now that is now is just the story that you're carrying. That was very
convoluted.
Maybe.
I understood you.
Right.
I just knew what you felt it sounded like.
Yeah, yeah. So what I'm saying is,
can you go back and change the story? Yes, you can.
Yes.
Like there are more and more teachers, wealth coaches, manifestation coaches. I've seen this coming up more and more in the field, this idea of quantum memory rewriting, where you go back into the memory and you imagine it happening a different way. And through doing that, you release the energetic charge or blockage around that experience, and then it dissipates. And now you begin to attract from the place of that new narrative.
But what's the difference, guys? Can you shed some light of wisdom on this subject together with us? What is the difference? Where does the line go from being in denial? Being in denial about it and not doing your shadow work, right? Not actually accepting what has been happening and kind of just denying the whole thing, because that's really easy to do.
So from my perspective, I'll speak to this until some comments come up. It's not about denying, because I think anybody who's saying like, I didn't grow up with a strong father figure, that's acceptance. They're already way past denial. Right. They're already like, I know that this happened to me, but carrying this story or continuing to read myself the same story from these same pages. Yeah.
This is your tiny book?
This is my book, yeah. Reading the story from these same pages is not serving me in my journey forward.
Right.
So therefore, I decide to close that book, put it back on the shelf, say thank you. It was relevant once. It got me to where I am, but it won't get me where I'm going. And to start to tell yourself a new story.
Right, but it's just, we're also to see from the past and accept all the feelings. Yeah, but Evie says that we can breathe it out and accept the feelings, but it comes to a point. I feel like when we're just breathing it out and accepting and giving it love, we're actually not changing it. That story is continuing. Or for me, it hasn't changed. I've been like holding and accepting those parts of myself and working with that, but it doesn't change. It still acts the same way. And the only thing that I've like gained hope on, and I see like, wait, I can actually change that, and it's something clicks inside of me. It's when I rewrite story.
Yeah. So I mean, for anybody who's on this call, what if you did that? What if next time you're sitting with a little bit of quietude and your eyes are closed and the kids are in the other room or whatever your situation is, and you have a moment to yourself? What if you went back into a memory where it was like the first instance of scarcity coming into your life, or the first instance of withholding love, or something that you really needed to hear but you didn't at the time? What if you went in and just reimagine that memory?
Yeah.
And just try it. Like, you know what I mean? Because there's more and more people who are speaking about this. And I think it's a new facet, a new add-on, if you will, that I'm starting to explore with people now, because I feel like there's a lot of validity to this. And I mean, if you look at how has Dr. Joe Dispenza become as big as he has lately? Well, number one, because he's bridging science and spirituality so well, and he has the credentials and the credibility to lend him that platform, Dr. Joe Dispenza. Though, what is he talking about, really? He's talking about remembering your future.
Right.
Manifesting what you want by remembering your future. So if you can remember your future, then surely you can remember your past in a new way.
Right, exactly.
Because time
everything
is just
happens now.
Right.
And there's different timelines with different versions of what happened. So definitely very much Dr. Joe Dispenza. I love how a lot of these like, even with these angel cards, is always like PhD, Dorian Virtue, PhD. And it's like these titles to kind of wear as jewelry to kind of show.
See, this is cool. There are so many ways in the Kvanta physics. I feel like some people who are tuning in are like way more advanced. You know what I mean? Like I think that, and it's amazing. I sometimes get a little bit jealous, if I'm honest, when I speak to people and they're like, yes, and I can see my lineage and I'll just access the Akashic records. I'm like, I'd love to do that. You know what I mean? You feel so pedestrian sometimes, at least I do. I know that my gift comes in other forms. I have an ability to alchemize words and to channel messages through my voice. Though I would love to have more of these esoteric, galactic
but they
remembrances.
You will have a lot of that. You just have to dive in deeper to it, and it's like a muscle. Like, for example, with my Clairsentience, I had to sit down. I sat down with my friend, and she would like write names of different people that she knew, and I had to go through the list, and I have to just like, and she's like, focus, and I would be like, okay, this person is this and this and this and this and this, and sometimes I would be off, but my percentage of being off will be
Less and less and
less and
less.
less and less and less, and I would be more and more and more right, because I would learn how my system functions. And also, so it's all about learning how your system functions as a clairsentient, clairvoyant, whatever, or whatever ability you have. Like there's a lot of different abilities. Talking about abilities, I'm going to give I'm thinking about it since I'm like here, and it's a good old tradition to give a psychic or clairsentient reading. If you want a reading right now, like I'll just dive into your spirit, please state your full name on the chat, and I'll uh, dive in on your name directly while you're watching right now and tell you what's happening in your life. Yeah.
Also,
So
if there's some way that we can be of service on this call to you, let us know. Like, that's what this is about. This is about connection, community. For me, it's kind of like a digital campfire. Like, we're all gathered here, and it's funny actually. Do you know why people gather around a television? Because it's the source of light in the room. Because it's encoded in our genetic makeup that hundreds of thousands of years ago, or since hundreds of thousands of years ago, our ancestors used to gather around a fire, and they would receive information from the elder or the chief or a wise member of the tribe standing up and speaking and sharing their stories. And that's why we instinctively gather around the television, because it reminds us of the campfire. And it's so interesting how you can trace back many of these habitual patterns. Like, have you ever stared into a fire and just found yourself just getting lost? Like, you just like watch that flame and you disappear into this hypnotic world. It's because your ancestors have done that since the dawn of time. So it's encoded, it's hardwired in your being that it induces a trance-like state. And so, these are some of the things to be aware of when you feel like, oh, I'm addicted to watching TV, or I'm addicted to staring at a screen or a light or whatever. It's like, that's why. It's because it's instinctive for us to gather in circle and commune and learn and listen.
okay, so the first energy that I went in on is Glenn Glenn Cameron Burke. So Glenn instantly, it's like talking about the masculinity and being a protector. A lot of that protection energy came in, and how you're a protector. And I don't know who you're protecting, but it's it's really in your nature to be a protector, and you are such a protector. But I'm also feeling a lot of the okay. So let me just. So I'm feeling how you're protecting, and you're being a protector for the people around you in your life. I don't know if it's your children or whatever it is, but you're really protecting. But at the same time, you're carrying so much of that fear inside of you, and it's really important for you. Even though you're stepping into the protector, it's important. Like we always say, like, put on your own mask first before putting on others, and sometimes to not overrun what's actually emotionally going on inside of you. Like your inner child has a lot of elements of fear. So having a good outlet to really like have, let me ask like spirit, what why you're showing me this. Mm. Okay. Um, yeah, to be able to because when we're in action or doing mode, we get into this phase where we forget that we also have to receive. We have to receive. We have to take in, open ourselves, be vulnerable. So going into that masculine force of yourself, being the protector, you also need to let people in. You also need to have a shoulder to cry on. You also need to allow yourself to be in your vulnerable feminine. And that has been a little bit unbalanced, because your vulnerable feminine is, your masculine is very beautiful, and the people in your life are really blessed to have you. But your feminine, or your vulnerable side is, it really needs to cry. It really needs to ventilate, and to actually be able to receive. Practice receiving love from others. Practice to let other people into you, and in order to also nurture yourself, that's how you're a balanced protector, or you're kind of protecting and doing things for other, but it goes into this unbalanced form that doesn't suit you, and you will in the end be like it will start playing out in a way. Yeah. If that makes sense.
Yeah, if that makes sense, if that resonates with you, just let us know. Drop on point or resonate.
If
or
it doesn't, just
if it
show
doesn't,
me the finger and be like, "Screw you, Samaj." Yeah. So, but that's also like it's constantly a dance, right? With between the feminine and the masculine, stepping into our masculine and then allowing the feminine.
For me, it's like I used to feel, especially growing up in a much more kind of like homophobic Middle East and with a lot more dogma and narrow-mindedness, it entrains you with certain values and a certain lens on the world.
Right.
And so what I've learned as I've gone on this journey is just to release the labels.
Right.
So for me, it's not like, oh, right now I'm in my feminine, or oh, I'm in my masculine. It's like, right now I'm feeling like being nurtured. Right now I'm feeling strong. Right now I'm feeling like just going inward and contemplating. Right now I'm feeling like going out and training and making stuff happen. And to not attach all of this the labeling and this weight to it, but instead just recognize and accepting it all as parts of myself. And I think that is what's given me the integration, is that I'm very comfortable talking about my feelings. I'll also stand up for what I want and say what I mean without mincing words. I'm very blunt. I'm very direct. So I have moments where I'm very like yang, and I have moments where I'm incredibly yin. And it's being able to have both of those in a healthy integration that I think leads to a sense of harmony and a sense of inner peace.
And I love that you guys are responding to each other on the chat as well. So like talk to each other, use your abilities, because I know that there's a lot of people with abilities that are in the chat as well. So please, this is all of this is being in service. Like you say, it's
just creating a space. Yeah, it's a digital campfire.
And the thing is, it actually works. Like I did the White Lotus, but before when it was Pink Lotus, and it was like the frequency in the digital room or whatever space we created was so high. Like all of us went like out like buzzing. Like, whoa,
yeah, well, I mean, really even we've come off calls like this and we're like, full of energy. All right, do you want to do another one?
Sure, I can do another reading since we're on it. But let's say I just want people to be on it. I don't want to go back on the old names. I think just if you're on this. So
if you're still on right now and you want a reading and you feel like something's going on for you that you would like some light shone on, then write your full name.
And even if you have like a question, like what I'm doing now is like I'm basically just going in on your name, right, and seeing what's active in your field. But if you have a specific question, like especially when it comes to relations, that is like one of my specialties, because I can go into your, like what I do is I go into your body, into your energetic field, then I look through your eyes into another person that you might want to know anything about the relation, and then I go into the other person, I look through their eyes to you. So that can be, but then I need both your name and the name of the person so I can see what's happening, or just that you say mom or dad or whatever, or so that makes me connect to that and see it.
Okay. I have a really interesting direction for this chat to go in.
Why are you looking? Why you have that smudge on your face? What is that?
That smirk. No, just because it's an interesting topic. It's potentially a little bit controversial. It's my issues with marriage vows.
Okay, I'm gonna Kenny. I see that you said here there's a relationship thing, Kenny, and okay, wait. Because Celia also came in now, and there's stuff going on there that I need to pick up on. If I don't do it directly right now, Kenny, I will do it later for you. Battery exhausted.
Oh,
wait. Okay. So
that's all right.
We have to be so much more better at like planning when we're doing stuff. So the
battery looked like it would be fine.
But... I know. So okay, while we're in the black, guys, I will
while we're in the dark, we will still spread the light.
I will do this in ASMR mode, and since Celia just talked about right now, about her and her boyfriend, and the energies are kind of picking up on that.
Just pretend you're on Clubhouse.
Yes. Hi, everybody. This is Samaj, and we're in Clubhouse right now. And then Celia, you said that your energy's like picking off. Kenny, I will also read you. If I'm not going to do it on the live right now, I can do it later for you as well, because I know we are on Facebook. So let me just jump in on Celia. I think you have to make the camera
1 second. We'll see.
work from the other side. You have to make a camera work from the other side. Right, okay, let me tune in on you, Celia. Sorry, I just got a little bit goofy right now while Tariq works out this. So Celia. Okay, you're a very sensitive spirit, Celia. That is coming very clearly up right away. Celia Kallestad. Okay. So Celia Kallestad. What is coming up? Then I have to go sensitive. Then I have to see your boyfriend. Show me her boyfriend. Okay, I'm picking up. I'm getting an energy reading from your boyfriend. If you could just give me his first name, that would be much easier for me, because then I know that I'm not like completely off to be that way.
Yes.
Hey, do you like that shot? Charlie's like, see me, it's good. Okay, good. Thank you, Celia. Right? Yeah, I'm gonna just really focus on Celia and Martin right now. So if you want to talk with our viewers about the subject that you were in on
yeah, sure.
Values.
Okay, so this might be a little controversial, and apologies if I upset anyone. That's not my intention. It's just something to think about. I've always had an issue with marriage vows. It's not that I'm against this idea of being together forever or investing your life together with someone. But what I've seen in the relationships around me, and tell me if you relate to this at all, is that this idea of till death do us part, without any kind of revision or checking in to see how that's going, leads to a lot of complacency. So people get married, they make these extraneous vows, and then they let their health go. They stop going to the gym, they stop working out, they stop all of this stuff. I'm not saying this is everybody. I'm just saying that I've seen this happen to a lot of people. And they go, well, why? The hunt is over. I've already got my catch, and I know that she's going to be with me, or I know he's going to be with me, and we've signed our vows, and we're going to be together forever, so it doesn't really matter what I do. And they use it as some kind of excuse to stop being their best selves. And I remember I read this at one point, which was, what if you had a marriage with a vow that renewed at the end of every year, that was like subject to a yearly review in the same way that your employment was? I mean, can you imagine if you got the job and then you turn up at work and then you just like chill out all day, or you just go off and eat food, or you just scroll on social media and you don't actually get any work done? And after a year, they go like, what? I have to put up with you for another 40 years? Like, that doesn't make any sense. So it's just this idea of, rather than having these strong and heavy vows of till death do us part, it's how about, like, rather than having all these ideas of death as well, like till death do us part, what about in life we do unite? What about actually using your vows as an opportunity to celebrate your union and to present your new evolved self every day, to rediscover who each other are? And for me, even though I'm not married, I mean, I might as well be, but this idea of nothing is forever, nothing should be taken for granted. And because of that, you aim and you strive to bring the best version of yourself. Like, I still like to train. I still like to keep myself in good shape because I want to look good for my woman. It's not just like, oh, well, she's mine now, it doesn't really matter how I look.
Right.
Like, I think that's an unhealthy mindset. And so if both people just continued to say like, hey, I get to be with you another day, or like, how can I treat you today that will make me earn another day with you, and another day with you. And so you have that safety of like, yeah, we're together, but you still have to like show up and be your best self and continue to be. And as long as both people are continuing to work on themselves, the relationship will work.
So regarding the reading now, like I've done my research a little bit now. It's funny, like I'm not like checking out. I go like do my research. So Celia, what is happening is like I see that your boyfriend Martin, he is withdrawing, and I see that you want to reach out to him, and I see that you have a lot on your heart that you want to tell him, but it's very easy in these situations that it turns into an attack, right? And he's going to pull himself even more away. So I see that he's actually in need of help and support because he is in a very vulnerable state right now. He is there's a lot of things going on inside of him, a lot of like sadness, or there's like this very vulnerable part of him that is active right now, and he isolates himself, and that is a part of how he tries to handle it because he doesn't have the tools to communicate it out and everything. And so what I see is that he like the focus goes away from you, right? The focus goes elsewhere and he isolates himself, and then you try to reach out, but that turns into some sort of attack for him or whatever, and then he isolates himself even more. So I see the only way for you to go about this is to actually like when I studied therapy, one of the really important things is that we never sit front to front, you know. We sit side to side because then it feels like that's why we easily talk when we're driving a car or we're going on walks together because we're going side to side and we're talking about something.
So it's less confrontational.
It's not confrontational, it's more partnership in it. And so instead of directly kind of confronting him about these things, more side to side talk about how can I help you? I really want to help you. Be it not from a place of, oh, hear me, you need to hear yourself. And then first, like, because him meeting your need right now when he's in his bubble, it's not going to happen. He doesn't know how to even express his own needs. He doesn't, there's no bridges. So you have to first build bridges, look at the landscape together, be like, I see that you're going through that. Like, what's happening for you? Like, I see that that going more of a helping, like a secure, space holding kind of way to relate to it. That is the way to go forward, and then you can build a bridge, and then you can help him out, maybe communicate, and then you can come with uh, your needs and what's going on for you. But right now that bridge is not there, and you have to build that bridge by helping him first or trying to be there for him first. If that made sense for you, please say yes, Samaj, that made sense for me, hallelujah. If it didn't, write, what should you write? Wah, wah, wah. Try to make the sound. Wah, wah. Okay, so since I'm on it and this is like the last night that we have together, I'm going to give another reading as well. Okay,
Thank you. Hallelujah.
Yeah, and Celia, if you want any more help on these, because this is like really really like my field is really going in on relationships and how to then reach out to me and I'll try to help you more. So we have a response from
Yeah, this is a good one.
Lisa Wallstadt.
Okay, I understand. But for those of us with anxiety, that kind of competition to live up to is stressful. Totally.
Yeah.
I totally hear you on that. I prefer the idea of being together in our timeless innocence,
Exactly.
true love, where we are healed. Maybe it depends on our personalities. So I think that's entirely valid. And it's not about constantly competing against other people. What I meant was not seeing the day that you sign your vows or the day that you agree to be together as like you've done everything that you need to, but to continue to show up as the version of yourself that that person fell in love with in the first place. Like before you met, maybe you were looking after yourself and you were building and creating, and you were independent and you were strong and you were vibrant and you had all of your stuff going on. You had your own world, and that's what attracted that person to you because they were like, wow, this person has all of this stuff going on. So to continue to be that person when you're together, so that it's kind of like it's the complacency that I have the issue with. It's not the feeling of safety and the feeling of having a home and a haven, because I feel that is more important than ever to have that feeling, to know that I come back and I'm home and that person is home for me. I feel there's no other feeling that compares to that. However, because that person is your home and your haven, treat them like your home and your haven. Make sure that everything is tidy. Make sure that everything is beautiful. Make sure that you're like, hey, let's get a new sofa here and let's do this and let's do that, and continue to pour love into it so that space continues to bloom. That's what I meant.
Okay, so Kenny, I'm going a little bit in on your energy, and I don't know if this is a side, like what I'm getting is that spirit is telling me you're not conscious about this. So I please ask of you when I'm saying this to you, please be curious about it. Don't, and I think you will be, because you're very much in touch with your feminine part, but your masculine part has an unbalance to it that is regarding the the your sacral chakra. And when it comes to I'm gonna tune in if it's control or whatever it is, but it is an imbalance that is happening in your sacral chakra, and this is also affecting, also running out in the in your relationship to Romy, because I feel like there's supposed to be like this natural give and take playfulness that is supposed to go on, but it's like this block that you have in your sacral makes you a little bit stagnant. So the give and take, the my turn, your turn, the dance between you gets a little bit like, what can you say, uh, like hard and mechanical, It doesn't, mechanical is a good word. And so what I would really suggest is trying to harness, like, because what came in, I was like, how can we make this more fluid? And that was like the playfulness. Well, this is a hard one. The playfulness when you're not trying. It's not like, hey, we're gonna be playful. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's not like, hey, we're going to be playful. It's just something you harness within yourself, and then it just spreads out within the relationship.
Bubbles.
Yeah, it's not mechanical. It's just something that comes from within, and then it just bubbles without. So I think, like, regarding to, let me just go into Romy to see if there is anything from here that I can. So Kenny, and then Romy, because I have to go through him to get to her. Yeah, it's this, and this also, there's some sort of, there's like parts of you that, like, there's a lot of love for you, but there's parts of you that she just, it's like almost like an uncertainty. It's an uncertainty on how to react on it, and you just don't know. So it just turns into this like awkward mechanic,
Right.
instead of just letting it flow. So I think the more it comes from a genuine safety within yourself, the more it's gonna just flow and allow flow to come in. Yeah, well, I'm surprised you're not talking about sex. Maybe it's sex I'm talking about. It's the sacral chakra. The sacral chakra has both with sexuality to do, and it has to do with yeah. But I think, like, the more you try not to be mechanical, Kenny, at all in your relation. Try not to try to find the playfulness within yourself. Try to let go of control, trust, and just dive into it, and let that play out. Because what you're trying to do right now, it's definitely not working, and it comes from an unbalanced sacral chakra. Maybe it sounds a little bit like, but that's what I can describe from this relation between you guys. Yeah, that's the problem. For here, you're seeing it in the opposite. For her, you're seeing it in the opposite direction. I think I'm too much me. That's the problem. For her, you see it in the opposite direction. Yeah, I'm pretty like I'm
Yeah.
pretty.
I think it's going to be difficult because you're communicating with words and he's communicating on a chat, and it's going to facilitate this communication to the level of depth that it requires. This might be as far as we can go right now.
You can reach out to me, Kenny, and I can see how I can definitely, I think we can gift each other. I think you also have some beautiful abilities that are just happening inside of you, so that would be a nice thing. Reach out to me and we can maybe give each other a reading. That is also like a cool thing, exchanging.
Yeah, totally.
So if people, guys, I know that there's so many people here on this chat that has abilities, and if you want to reach out to me, we can also do an exchange. That would be also fun, because I would love a reading from everybody else. I always give people readings, and I would love to get a reading as well. That would be fun.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah. Anything you want to okay, we will, and I just think you guys should talk about trust more often, because I think it's the foundation. Trust is the foundation in a lot of things.
Yeah, there's that's like a whole other branching subject, because one view of trust is that trust is asking someone else to conform to your values. Like that's one version or one interpretation of what trust is. And if somebody like betrays your trust, all they're doing is they're betraying the values or the ideals that you've held. And so actually, if you're really clear with your communication about what values you hold, then it's up to you whether to put that trust in that person or not. And so like the best way to grow more trust in your life is to actually allow yourself to be more trusting with people and give people the opportunity to trust you. It's like, it's that vulnerability. It's that like openness to say, here, I'm trusting you unless you betray my trust. So it's kind of like innocent until proven guilty rather than guilty until proven innocent.
I'm like a cat in that. I'm like, I'm the most loyal person until I'm treated unfairly, and I will say it. And then if that isn't taken into consideration, you lose my solidarity, and it's gone. And sometimes I get very like, I feel like sometimes I'm like, oh, is there something wrong with me that I'm like that? Because I see other people that like they're like, when people treat them in a certain way, they're just still there, still believing in them and still like being there for them. But I just can't. I don't have that. Maybe I have that part, but it's just like, I'm just like, if somebody treats me bad, I just step back from it. I'm like, no, not at all.
Right.
No, thank you.
Right. It's like, I'm loyal, but I'm not loyal to mistreatment.
Exactly. And that's like, when I see, like, that's why I always like loved cats versus dogs. Like when I see dogs, they're just like, I love you no matter what. And they're just like so much light holders in the world. While a cat is like, if you are a shitty person, I'm not going to talk to you. Like, like you have to earn my love, but when you first get love from them, it's amazing.
Right.
But when it comes to trust, it's also about trusting the universe. When you trust, you allow. When you're not trusting, you're trying to control things. And then when you're trying to control things, you're not actually allowing the universe to do the job for you. You're all the time trying to handle it yourself. So like if it's regarding to, from my own experience, meeting a partner, dating, going on these apps all the time, and actually sometimes just be like, you know what? I'm going to give this to universe. Like, take it, universe. Here you go. Thank you very much. And it's funny how like things start showing up at your door.
Right.
But you have to give your trust.
Mm.
You have to confide your trust into the universe, and that will open a lot of doors. But if you're holding on to it, you're not giving it.
I remember going and having a session with Ikaya in Norway, and one of the things he said to me, he said, a lot of your life you've been trying to move life. He said, where if you just like surrender and allow yourself to feel where life wants to take you, you'll be carried. You'll be supported.
That hits something really deep inside of me right now.
So it's like that, a space of non-attachment to any one particular outcome, having a clear vision of the destination you want to move toward, but then being unattached about how it comes, when it comes, if something better comes, it doesn't matter. You just release that part
Whew.
and let it sort out and bring the right people, the right things to you, and you just keep walking in alignment with your truth.
That is very, very deep and very true, and something to
Unattachment,
constantly
not
remind.
detachment. Detachment means I don't care. That's indifference. That's not what I'm talking about. Unattachment means I deeply would love for this to happen. However, I'm totally open to the experience that unfolds.
But that in every way, even in attraction, right? The times when we're very magnetic is, have you noticed how, like, when you're going out and you haven't even, like, if you're a girl, you haven't put on makeup. If you're a guy, you just like put on some chilling pants or whatever, and then you go out, and then that day when you didn't give a f about how you look like, suddenly everybody looks at you and you get so much compliments, and you're just like, oh, you're so magnetic, you're so attractive, and then you're like, why doesn't it happen when I try? The same thing with I'm a songwriter as well, and I've been working in the industry for like 12, 13 years now, and every time I'm just like, I'm letting this go, I'm not caring. Bam, 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 opportunities come in. And it's a little bit of that, having that, when we're trying to hold on to things and put our claws in it, and it comes out of control and a need to like make things happen,
Yeah.
then we're not like trusting in the process. But sometimes you need to make things happen. Sometimes that is important. Like when I look at the crisis, the times in my life, it happened because I made it happen.
Yeah. It's kind of like you do what's within your capability, but then you trust the bigger stuff to be handled by a greater mind, to be organized by a greater force. So rather than you having to work out all the minutia of how everything, like release a lot of the how and instead invest your energy in the what and the why, and let the universe answer the how and the when.
Mm.
I remember when I wrote my first book called Interview with the Universe. I say wrote my book, but actually this book was written through me. It was literally me asking questions of the universe, and suddenly these answers started to channel through. And one of my questions for the universe was like, I don't get it. So you're the universe, because it was like a conversation, right? So you're the universe, so you're a creator. Okay, I get that. And I'm also a creator. So which part do I create and which part do you create? Right? Like that's kind of confusing. Like if you're a creator and I'm a creator, how do I know what part is my responsibility and what part is your responsibility? And the universe answered with this most gorgeous analogy. It said, manifestation is like a symphony orchestra.
Mm.
What part do you think you play? And I was like, I'm the conductor, right? I'm the conductor. I'm the maestro. I'm the one who signals the orchestra. And the universe said, you are the composer. You are the composer. You compose your symphony, whether it's a minor symphony full of tragedy and despair, or it's this uh, beautiful sonata full of major frills and upliftment. You get to choose what your symphony is. You get to compose your symphony. Once you've composed it, you hand it over to me, and I will find your orchestra and play your music.
I think what Stasia just said here was actually really, really beautiful. It's exactly need equals lack. So when you're in need of something, you're basically sending out to the universe that I'm lacking it, right?
Mm.
So you're saying, I'm lacking this, I need this, I need this. And what does need do? Need actually pushes something away. You don't like, how would you like somebody, when somebody's needy, do you go like, oh, come here? No, you're like, back
Give
off.
me a little bit of space.
Give me space, yo. So the same thing is with the universe. Is like when you're
Yeah.
exuding need from your being, that is, you're actually pushing things further away. When you're not doing that, the most attractive people are the people that are not needy at all. They're happy with themselves. They're doing their thing.
They're self-sufficient. They've got their own stuff going on.
Right, and that is what we
I remember
get attracted to. And it's the same law of attraction.
Yeah.
It goes through the universe. It's the same as between us. It's chemistry. It's physics.
I remember I heard this one line from a woman named Alex Tripod at Freedom Fest in Australia. And you know when you hear one line and it's like worth the price of admission? Like even if I had just heard that one line, it would probably have been worth the ticket. That one line was this: money is attracted to the energy of desire and fun, not your need for safety. And I was like,
But yet not your need for safety.
money is attracted to your energy of desire and fun. Money wants to go, hey, so what are we going to do next? What are you going to build? What are you going to create? What are you going to buy that you really want to, that you really love? What are you going to, what can I collaborate with you to bring into this world? Like, tell me, let's get excited. Money is attracted to that energy, not your need for safety. Not like, oh, I really need you right now to pay this and to pay that and to support this. It's like those needs are very real, but coming from that energy of need is not what's going to fill it.
But yeah, I think sometimes it's like it's hard to get out of that need zone when we are.
If you are in need,
yeah, like
for sure.
Like when we're in, for example, this in our pain bodies, like Eckhart Tolle calls it, the pain body, and when we're in that pain body and we're experiencing like this trauma going on, and we're in our trauma, we're in our hurt or whatever it is, it's so hard to go into like really like shift it to a position of being what do you call it, unattached.
Unattached, yeah.
Unattached.
Yeah, like so, lovingly unattached.
So my loving, beautiful friends out there, I have a early day tomorrow, so I'm gonna start like wrapping this like slowly up because I have a flight tomorrow. I'm going back to Norway,
and I have to drive into the airport.
Yeah. So, any last things that you want to sum up on this?
Yeah. Well, first of all, Stasia said that amazing way to look at life. Yeah. Honestly, I don't take credit for that. That was the universe, because I was answering the dumb questions. The universe was the one coming with the really intelligent responses. And oh yeah, I see 111.
Yeah.
In our time. Stasia, thank you so much. I'm in Tariq's program. It's been a wonderful rewriting of my being. Yeah, I'm currently finishing up a container called Reinvent Yourself, which is all about remembering your future and creating imagery. So like vision boards and stuff, but taken to a whole nother level where you actually see yourself in the image and use Photoshop and software and stuff to put yourself in these future scenarios. Anyway, but just speaking on programs, while I have people here, like one of the big ways that I've been able to support myself and my fiance during these challenging times is through passions, like being able to get my passions and skill sets out to people in the form of programs and services. And so if you can soothe pains and solve problems, you have what it takes to serve people. And right now, like, look at how many people we're connected to online. Look at how many people might see you on social media or that you peripherally can connect with. It's thousands. You have skills, you have value that you can turn into a digital course, turn into an online program that you can get out there to people. And the thing is, even if you only have like anywhere from 3 to like 10 people try out your course, you might have replaced your full-time income already, right? It's like a very viable way to support yourself, or if not replace your full-time income, at least give it a big buffer. So I'll cut a long story short. If you would like to create your very own program out of your passions or turn one of your skills into some form of digital service, I have the very first time I'm launching this. It's something that I've been doing for years, but now I'm going to teach you my process. It's called Passions into Programs, where I'm going to show you how to take your passions and structure them and structure the content and do the landing page and make your promo video and write the marketing copy and all of it to create your very own online program. And in 2 months, you'll have your very own online program. And I'll look over all the content with you so that you can now have a new way to generate income during these times. If you want to learn more about that and see the curriculum and stuff like that, just drop the word passion below and I'll reach out to you.
Because everybody has a skill set or wisdom or knowledge that they can package in some way and sell it. So it's absolutely possible. And you see people have like they do businesses out of small niche things, and actually that's the best thing when you have a niche thing that you can present to the world, there's always going to be people that are being interested in exactly that. When it's too broad,
Right.
it doesn't hit anywhere, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, that sounds really, really, really fun. If you want to join in on the White Lotus, it's going to be the 6th of June, the first White Lotus, and after that, we're going to try to do it every second week. I'm currently building a landing page, and what you can do is that you can go on samajrafael.com and just sign up to the newsletter, and you're not going to get junk mail. That's how I keep track of everybody that wants to join in on the White Lotus, and I will 1 week before the White Lotus starts send you the Zoom link. So you will get it, and you will also get a reminder that, hey, the White Lotus is tomorrow. So if you want that, you can go on. This is like another way. Let me just write it for you. So for the White Lotus, go on White Lotus. Go on samajrafael.com and sign up for the newsletter. And the newsletter is not for the newsletter; it's actually just for the White Lotus mostly. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. And if you want me to show you how to build a course in June so that you can do what I'm doing basically and live from your passions, drop the word passion. I'll reach out to you, let you know what it's about. And if it feels good for you, you're welcome.
Also, if you have like themes or subjects that you want to talk about, this is a space to talk about. This is a digital bonfire, but the space that we're creating between all these realms and dimensions is completely real, and it is felt within our hearts, and it's felt within the space.
Absolutely.
So with that, this is the last time that I'm like sitting next to you. After this, we're going to be sitting on opposite sides of the world, but we're still going to do this, and we're going to be like maybe choosing like a day because we always just like drop by.
Yeah, we're always just like, let's do a soul much.
But thank you so much, guys, for the love and the space that we create together. Yeah. Remember how beautiful you are. Remember that even though things might feel chaotic, even though you feel like, ugh, I'm lost, you're still on your way. It's like a forest, you know. It takes different paths, but the forest is going north, east, or west, or whatever. But it's still, you're gonna get to the same end of the forest, but you're gonna take different ways on how to get there. So don't trust. Remember to trust. Be unattached, practice being unattached, and allow things to happen for you.
Yeah.
And love you.
Big love. Thank you so much for tuning in, for sharing this space with us tonight or this morning, wherever it is for you. And we will see you again very, very soon.
We will. Peace out.
Much love.